What up, guys? It's Rook here, drummer from Machine Gun Kelly, and you're listening to Sellouts, the podcast for MGK fans by MGK fans. Let's go!
Our flaws are what makes us perfect. Welcome to another episode of Sellouts, the podcast for MGK fans by MGK fans. I am your host, Mike Kyle, and today I am joined by Fenix, and he's actually a friend of Jules and Laser, who we previously had on the podcast. He's messaged me a while ago, actually, trying to get on before it was open kind of to the public. And so, Fenix, I'm so glad to have you on.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on.
Yeah, so absolutely. I'm glad we're going to make this happen. And it's crazy. One of the things that we kind of talked about, and we'll get into this a little bit, is that you run an MGK and Youngblood fan page. And I told you, I was like, hey, you grow this up a little bit, I'll be sure to have you on. But even just like the more consistent posting that you've been doing since our earlier conversation is super cool to see. So just keep it up and keep growing that page.
Yeah, I've actually had that for a long time. And it started out really slow. It actually used to be a different fan page for a different artist. But then I turned it into a Machine Gun Kelly and Youngblood because I couldn't decide between the two.
Yeah, and if you're going to build a page around two people, those might be the two to do it around. But let's just start with MGK. How did you become a fan of him?
My mom actually introduced me to him because she always listened to him, like, no matter what. And I remember one time I was at her friend's house and she just put me in the living room and put on the Wild Boy music video.
And how old were you at that time?
It was like just when it came out, so I'd say probably 5 around there.
Wow. So we're talking like 5 years old. Wild Boy came out around, what, 2011? Is that right? So, okay. So, that's super interesting that your mom was the one that introduced you to him. And it's actually one of the things I really wanted to talk about here. What is it like to have a parent also love the same artist as you, but also like be the one to introduce you to that artist?
Actually, she introduced me to him way before Wild Boy. But I think that's
Okay.
the song that brings me and her together because ever since then we've been a lot closer.
Mm-hmm.
But having a parent that also loves him has been like really helpful for me because I'm like huge on him.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. So like my parents don't listen to MGK at all. My siblings don't even listen to MGK. And so I'm kind of on my own island. But I think it's so cool that like it's connecting multiple generations through the same artist. So that's like such a cool experience that I think is actually pretty unique to you. Or I think there's a few other people as well, especially as EST kind of as a whole has grown up and gotten older with them, right? If we just think of his daughter, Casey, right? Casey is at this point is going into high school. And so we have a lot of like EST that just has grown up over the past, decade or so and starting to have kids and starting to kind of pass it on to them. But it's cool that like you're in like this spot where, you're here with like the explosion and the stardom and just this rocket ship of the past few years, and you get to have that experience with your mom. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's also been like really helpful for me, like to bring our relationship closer because I don't live with her.
Okay.
And just when I go over there, Wild Boy is the first thing that we put on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so cool that you're able to like have that song be like that special connection between the two of you and help it strengthen your relationship overall as a whole. That's awesome.
It is.
So if we were to kind of go through a little bit here, you also like really interesting. Your favorite album is General Admission. Do I have that right?
I have a few favorites. Like I can't pick between them, but General Admission is my favorite.
Okay, and why is that?
I have a lot of connection to the songs.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything in particular like that really stands out? Like, what are some of those connections, if you don't mind me asking?
Um, I think Gone is the one that I connect to the most.
Hmm.
Maybe a little more or Story of the Stairs.
Okay, so some of your favorite songs are Gone and Story of the Stairs, but I want to kind of transition that now. So you just talked a lot about the old stuff, but let's talk about some of the new stuff with Tickets to My Downfall and Mainstream Sellout. Where do those kind of rank in terms of your favorite MGK albums?
I like Tickets to My Downfall a little more than Mainstream Sellout because it just gives off a more uh dirtbag teenage
Hmm.
um high school vibe.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, we also, as you know, we have that nice little bonus from Youngblood on Tickets as well, which I'm sure you love. Body Bag, perfect song.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it
Now,
totally bring out the I think I'm okay in
mhm.
Hotel Diablo. I think that song is what really bring out Tickets to My Downfall too. Like
Mhm.
gave it a little intro.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like it's so cool how if you know I've talked about this before in the podcast. If you go back through a lot of just like Kels's music, like you can see like the subtleties like of guitars and rock and pop punk. It's all kind of there. But I think I'm okay was like the first step into no, we're gonna do this. Right? And then followed by I Think I'm Okay was Bloody Valentine, and from there it really was just off to the races.
Yeah, I also think Why Are You Here was
Mm-hmm.
a good one to step into that too.
Yeah, and I think it's crazy that Why Are You Here like was like this forgotten song. Even he at a point was like, yeah, it's crazy. Even he at a point was kind of like, I forgot that like I had this. I think there's a tweet that he had when tickets dropped. He's like, we just completely forgot to put it on Tickets to My Downfall. And so that's why it's on the deluxe version of Mainstream Sellout because they literally just forgot it existed.
I don't know how. It's such an amazing song.
Yeah, I really liked it when it came out as well. So is that how you got introduced to Youngblood? Was it through I Think I'm Okay?
No, actually, I've been a fan of him since Tin Pan Boy came out.
Wow. Okay, so a bit there as well. Which I guess honestly just brings us over to the fan page. Who was the artist that the fan page was for initially, and then why did you decide to kind of make this joint fan page for both Youngblood and MGK?
Actually, I didn't have start to it. I just kind of turned the fan page that was a different artist into them because I couldn't decide whether to do Machine Gun
Mm,
Kelly or Youngblood. And I was
mm.
very passionate about both, so I just decided to do both.
Yeah, and for you, what is some of the reasons that you like both of them, right? Because they are a bit similar for sure. And so I'm wondering if there's like a commonality between the two of them that you really like.
Probably that I can connect to both of their music pretty well.
Mhm.
They both have songs that like speak out to me, and I really like how they are when they're together. Like a
Mhm.
few interviews, how their friendship just connects.
Yeah, absolutely. They are super fun together in interviews. That's for sure. They're always joking around, and I think it's cool. If we were to just kind of speaking, of friendships, as part of EST, you're friends with Jules and you're friends with Laser, and so what has EST like done for you? What does it mean to you? What are just kind of like what? Let's end off kind of on a nice little note before we go into our rapid fire game.
EST actually means a lot to me. I have it all over my room. I always wear the bandana.
Mhm.
Um, it's bringing me, my friends, and a lot of people together. Like I've made a lot of friends just by EST.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of you, speaking of it always kind of being on you, I mean, your background right now, your whole room is you got pictures, you got Youngblood stuff, you got Kel stuff, you got a nice little Sprite bottle there too. Not sponsored. That's so cool. I love doing this podcast because it really does feel like I'm just talking to my friends who I've never met before because we all share this common bond and we all are part of EST. So thank you so much for coming on, Phoenix. So Phoenix, have you seen MGK in concert?
A lot of times, yes, but there's
A
one in
lot.
particular that stands out.
Okay. What one's that?
It's the one in Salt Lake City at the complex, the Tickets to My Downfall tour.
Okay, and what about it was so special?
So before the concert, me and my mom were going, and we were staying at this motel, and one of our neighbors actually blew up their motel, their room, and that caused ours to blow up too, which was this huge flood. Like there was almost a fire, and we actually almost died that night. And I refused to go to the hospital because I wanted to go to that concert.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
You're going to the Salt Lake City show. You're at a hotel, right?
yeah,
You're at a hotel. Something happens where the hotel or where like your room almost blows up.
yeah. The wall collapsed on our bed frame, and the bed frame like full on force pushed on us, and just caused the entire place to flood.
I almost don't even know what to say to that. But like, so okay, hang on. I now need to collect my because that is insane. That is insane. So there's water just like coming out of the wall.
No, it
Okay,
started flooding after we vacated the place, but the wall
okay,
exploded on us while we were
okay.
sleeping.
Okay, so the wall explodes. I would assume that if there's flooding, water somehow is coming in, maybe a pipe burst, something happens. And so you're just like, nah, like I'm not going to the hospital. Like I came here, we're going to the show, we're not missing it, and to the show you went.
Yep. And actually, I lost my tickets that day too, but I did go end up going.
What do you mean you this sounds like the day from hell. I don't even know how to like can we write a movie about this? How did you lose your ticket? Wait, what did so first you lost your ticket and then your hotel room exploded?
No, once I got there, I lost my ticket.
Wow. Was this like Friday the 13th?
It felt like it.
Because I was gonna say if it was not, it definitely was in spirit. That's for sure. That's crazy. Did you at least wait? So you go to the show. Was it? I mean, that has to be hopefully one of your favorite shows of all time, then, right?
It was. I can remember the date and everything, the timing it was. I remember everything about it.
Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. I can't imagine. I do think my favorite part, and I think it just goes to show how strong EST is as a whole. Where it's like, listen, not my whole living situation, my whole hotel room. Yeah, that thing just exploded. But am I gonna go to the hospital at all? Absolutely not. I'm gonna go to the concert instead.
And that I did.
I think a lot of us would have done a very, very similar thing, so that's not surprising at all. But that is, I didn't know what you were going to say. I will say this, that this is going to make for a great social media clip, that's for sure. Let's wrap it up with this, okay? We're going to go 5 rapid fire MGK questions, okay? Cool. So let's go with the first one. Let's go with blonde hair or pink hair.
Blonde for sure.
All right. If you could see Kells anywhere live, where would you want to see him perform at?
Cleveland.
All right. What's your favorite MGK and Youngblood collab?
Um, Either acting like that or I think I'm okay.
All right. If Kells could collab with anybody on this next rap album, who would you want to see him collab with?
Honestly, I think Motley Crue.
Ooh, that's a good answer. I like that one. And then let's wrap it up with this. What is the first song that you're going to play somebody who has never listened to MGK?
Depending on their music taste, if they like rap or rock more. If it was rap, I would probably play someone around Wild Boy or EST for Life. If it was rock, I'd play Drunk Face.
Awesome. And there we have it. Fenix, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching this episode if you're watching on YouTube, or thank you so much for listening if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want to be on the show, hit the link in the description to apply, and we will see you in the next episode.